Guys, it is me, Gunpla 2.0, here with my top 10 Gunpla kits that I've built in 2017. Now, not all of these kits were released in 2017. A majority of them are, but there are a few that I really liked that I have built this year that were released in previous years. So let's kick off this list with number 10, the high-grade Origin Zaku 2 Type C/C5. Now, the reason I put this kit as number 10 is it's a really great kit. It has some really good articulation, has a nice accessory loadout, but it is a reuse of the Origin Zaku mold. And it does have some couple of seam lines, but I'm not too worried about seam line. I don't do a whole lot of seam line removal. I probably should. Definitely should do that to just get in some more practice on that. But this kit also doesn't have a whole lot of stuff new to it. Yeah, it does come with both versions of the Zaku machine gun, the belt fan and the original. Has the rocket launcher, this long anti-ship rifle. Does have a new part for the arm, which is this thing right here, and it's a twin Vulcan machine gun. But other than that, it's just a Zaku in mass production colors. Doesn't really have a whole lot going for it. But that doesn't mean it's not a bad kit, though. Now we move on to number 9, which is the high-grade Thunderbolt Gundam Ground Type S. Now, just like with the Origin Zaku, the reason I put this kit low is not because it has horrible... I mean, it's not as great as the others. It still has some really good articulation. But just like the Origin Zaku, it does use some parts from another kit. But the main reason is that although this is supposed to be a Thunderbolt version of the Ground Gundam, to me it just doesn't scream Ground Gundam. To me, it's more just like a GM with a Gundam head. But just like the Origin Zaku, that doesn't mean it's a bad kit. It could use I mean, it does have a lot of new parts to it, but there are some parts of it that are taken from the Thunderbolt GM. But I've never really built that kit. This is my first Thunderbolt kit, and I'm actually quite happy with this kit. I really like it, but there are some other kits that I like just a little bit more. Next up, number 8 is the high-grade Iron-Blooded Orphans Guxian Rebaked Full City. Now, the main reason I like this kit is that this is the third form of the Guxian Rebake, and it is molded in a dark tan, which I like a little bit more than just the regular kind of sandy tan color that the first rebate was molded in. This is a bit more of a heavily armored Guxian rebate. It's more original. It's not using a lot of... Its design doesn't use a lot of parts that look like they were taken from the Barbatos and just molded slightly. Now mine is wielding the 2 long rifles that come with the Iron Blooded Arms Option 9, which sadly, one of the main reasons I put this kit kind of low on the list is because it not only doesn't use a lot of stickers. I mean, you get stickers for the tops of this, you get a whole bunch of stickers for the face, you get stickers in there, you get stickers almost everywhere on this kit. But the main reason I put it this low, although it is a really good kit, it's because you don't really get much accessories. You do get a nice gimmick, though, of the hidden arms, which are in here. But the only main accessory you get is this shield that turns into a giant pair of scissors. I mean, in order to, like, give this guy its proper weapons, you have to buy option sets. And although the option sets are really good, I just think that this kit should have came with at least one of these long rifles. Or maybe even give us the halberd again. Yeah, that is number 8, the Dushion Rebate Full City. Now we move on to number 7, which is the high-grade Jaden Echoist type. Now, trust me, this kit, this list, will have some kits that are not high grades. I mean, this list is pretty much dominated by high grades, but there are a couple that aren't high grades. But yeah, this is the Jaden Echoist type, and it's a really great kit. I really like it, but one of the main reasons why I put it as number 7 is, although it's a really great kit and I like it just slightly better than the rest, it does have some. It could be better. It does. I'm not a huge fan of the color scheme, but I really like the design. The Jaden is one of my favorite Universal Century grunt suits. And because I really like the Jaden, I had to put this one, which is my favorite because I really love that head. Which is the main reason why I like the Echoist is because of that head. I had to put it on this list somewhere. So I put it in as number 7. Now, get this straight. I might say for the first half of this list, I have said some things that are maybe negative about the kit, but they are still really great kits. Just want to get that out there as an FYI. Now we move on to number 6, which is the high-grade Iron Blooded Orphans Gundam Taylean. Now this kit, there isn't really much bad I could say about this kit. It's a really great kit, and it's one of my favorites from the Iron Blooded Orphans line. And it has some really good articulation. I really like the half-cal B. Now, the reason why this isn't higher on the list is mainly because of the head. I'm not a huge fan of that skull light head. But everything else I love. These kind of are really fun to pose with having it in the half-cal T form. Not so much the T booster, but it's It's also the first Iron-Blooded Orphans Gundam to have a double joint in the arm, which is awesome. I mean, that's really nice. It's new. The legs, the frame, kind of looks like it's extended a bit because you do get some new parts for the inner frame of the leg. You have, I mean, the base stand Taylean does kind of look a little bit bare, but there's nothing wrong with that. I like the bayonet sword, which becomes the bayonet rifle. I mean, this is one of my favorite Iron-Blooded Orphans kits. Now, I would have added this into my top 12 Iron-Blooded Orphans kits, but I made that video before this kit, I think, was even announced. So I would have definitely put that high on that list. And this is at the midway point for this list. So yeah, let's move on to the next kit. Now we are at number 5. And this is the high-grade HGUC Silver Bullet. I almost screwed that up. Then I never really had any plans on getting this kit. I like the Silver Bullet design. I just wasn't sure if I've wanted to actually own this in kit form, and well, one time I was at my local hobby store, and this was like one of the more interesting kits that they had available, so I picked it up, and boy, do I not regret it. This kit is awesome, and it is huge. I mean, look at the Jaden. This thing dwarfs the Jaden, and even dwarfs the Zaku 2. I mean, this thing is huge. It is awesome. The only thing that would keep this kit from being even higher would be that well, there's nothing like wrong with the kit in my mind other than just the seed lines. It's just that the kits that are higher than this, I like the design just a little bit more. So let's move on to the next one. And here we are at number 4, and this is the last high-grade Iron-Blooded Orphans kit to be featured on this list. And this is the Mars Vidar, the final evolution of the Mars Gundam. And one of my favorite versions of it. The reason why this tops all of the other Iron-Blooded Orphans hydrates on this on this list, and the reason why I put this as number 3 is because I really love these shield gun arm things. Are awesome and really fun to pose. I love the shape of the shield. I love the fact that they also have like this gun type thing. They can extend out a bit. The legs are a bit weird, but that's pretty cool. The head kind of looks like gives off like an Atlantic vibe. Like, this would be the Gundam that Neptune would probably pilot. The Drill Lance is okay. It's not as great as the Destroyer Lance from the Mars Trooper. I think that one's my favorite version of the Mars' Lance weapon. I like this kind of purple over the other in previous Mars versions purple. This is more of a lavender color. And this is the first Mars minus the Vidar. But of the 3 actual Gundams that have Mars in its name, this is the first one with a gray, like a dark gray inner frame. Now, for me, I would kind of would have preferred like a lavender inner frame, but the gray inner frame isn't bad either. And that is why I really like this kit. But there are 3 kits that are just slightly better than this one. Now, we are on to number 3, and the first non-high grade kit on this list. And this is the real grade Unicorn. And what can I say about this kit? This kit is fantastic. It's an amazing real grade. It's the first real grade I've ever built. And I'm glad I built this kit as my first real grade because I really love the Unicorn. It's my favorite Universal Century mobile suit of... Well, one of my favorite Universal Century mobile suits. There's one mobile suit that I'll get to just a little bit later that I like just a little bit more than this, but for the Unicorn story, this is definitely my favorite. I really like how they incorporated the transformation in 1/144th scale. Now, this would have definitely would have been number 1, but for me, reason why this isn't number 1 is because of the articulation. The articulation is really great, but for me, it's not really fun to pose because some of the joints are super stiff, and now it does say to try and loosen up those joints. But when I tried to do that, I broke both of the... I broke 2 parts on both sides of this. So now both of the arms are really floppy. I ended up breaking that piece there on the shoulder. And I really have a hard time trying to get this guy to stand up straight. Stupid shield. And yeah, and there's also a crack in the elbow joint. If it weren't for those little issues that were mostly caused by me, this kit easily would have been number 1. Now we move on to number 2, and I may have to move my camera back a little bit. And this is the 1/100th scale non-grade Gundam Barbatos Lupus. And this is the 1/100th scale full mechanics kit, and this is the only 1/100th scale kit on this list. The Lupus is the reason I put this as number 2 is because the Lupus is my favorite, absolute favorite version of the Barbatos Gundam. With the second version being the Rex. And that is why I took both. I mean, I would have put either the high-grade Lupus or the high-grade Lupus Rex on this list. And that's because I took those two kits, which I only, even though I built the Lupus Rex and the Lupus multiple times, the previous times I've owned those kits, they ended up getting trashed. Don't ask me why. But I would have put those on this list, but as you can see here, I had kit bashed them and customized it. So instead, I put the 1/100 scale, which is just as great as the high grade, maybe even a little bit better. I like how this one includes the autocannons, as well as the sword mace. This kit has some really good articulation, really good panel line opportunities, which I do plan on panel lining this kit. I will be painting this kit as well. And I also have a review of this kit if you guys want to check that out. I may put a link in the description below. But there's just one kit that I like even more than this kit. So let's move on. Now, before we move on to number 1, I want to mention just a couple of honorable mentions. And that would be the high-grade double riser plus GN Sword 3, the high-grade Astria, the mobile armor Hashmo and Pluma, the 1/100 scale Grays, and the high-grade Z Zulu. Now, the reason that these guys did not make the cut for this list is with the Hashmo and Pluma, it was a really fun build. It's a really big kit, but it's not the greatest. Though there are some stuff like these shoulders will easily pop off, and most of the Pluma's color separation is used with stickers, and I also don't really care for this kind of red, which was a bit more of a regular red. This looks more like a reddish orange. But other than that, I mean, I really like the Hashmo, and I do like it so much that I do plan on using it in a kit bash to make my own Iron-Blooded Orphans mobile armor. The Astria didn't make the list because I have built it 2 times before. This isn't my first time building the Astria. I really like it more than any of the other kind of like Etsia. Like it a little bit more than the Etsia, a little bit more than the Double O. So yeah, that's why the Astria didn't make it. The Greys, I chose the Lupus over the Greys. Both are really fantastic kits. And this is my first 1/100 scale kit I've ever built. But seeing as how I love the Lupus more than the Greys, I went with the Lupus. Z Zulu, it's an okay kit. It's just the head articulation is pretty weak. My mono eye, there goes my light. The mono eye is a bit loose on mine. There was a lot of nub marks and all that, and I like the Federation suits from the Unicorn line just a little bit more than the Xeon. And the 00 Riser plus G and Sword 3. It's a really nice kit. This is my first time building a 00 Riser. I have built the 00 before in the form of the 7 Sword G. Now, there isn't really much reason for why I didn't put this in the list. This probably would have been number 11 if I did put it as made this into a top 15. But it's just that the other kits were just slightly better than this one. And I will be doing an out-of-box review of this shortly. So now let's move on to number 1. And that, my friends, my fellow Gunpla modelers, will be the high-grade Thunderbolt Atlas Gundam. The main reason I put this as number 1 is because this is the freaking Atlas. The Atlas is my favorite Universal Century mold suit of all time. And I love the way they executed this kit in high-grade form. Now, I do not have an out-of-box review for this kit. I will be doing one shortly. So I won't go into a whole lot on this kit. But I just really like the way they engineered this. I really like the railgun. I like the design of the machine guns. Although I don't have them available because they got lost or damaged or something happened to them, but I don't have those machine guns anymore. Wish I did, because it's another reason why I put this kit on this. As number 1 is because I just love the look of its weapons, the machine guns, the railgun, the shield, the sub legs, which I have off on this kit for right now because I really like the design. It's just for me, it's just a little bit hard to pose unless I have it in its flight mode. I like the choice of colors. I like how there's like a dark bluish gray. There's like a regular dark gray. You got white. You got yellow. A lot of the yellow is actually plastic. Just some of that trim, like on the chest, and then on the joints, that's all stickers. This piece, this part of yellow right here, that's sticker, but a lot of this is yellow plastic, and this still would look great even without the stickers, except for the eye stickers. I like the head. You do get marking stickers, which for me, I just put one on each shoulder. You could store the beam sabers and the shoulders. The beam sabers that you get are actually like 1/100 scale beam sabers, so they're really long. The articulation is excellent. There's just nothing really bad I could say about this kit. I love it. It's my favorite of this year. So yeah, that is it for my top 10 Gunpla kits that I've built in 2017. Now, out of all of them, 6 of them were released in 2017. That being the Taylean, the Origin Zaku, both of the Thunderbolt kits, the Mars Vidar, and the Real Grade Unicorn. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned. Tomorrow I will be doing a short live stream of me finishing up the non-grade Virtue / Novelty. That would have also been another honorable mention in this. It didn't really make the list, or even honorable mention, mainly because the head is like a freaking plastic hand grenade, and those clear parts were a pain to put in there, except for the chest. That was like the easiest one to put in there. So yeah, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And like I said, stay tuned for my live stream tomorrow. And I will see you guys in the next video. I am Gunpla 2.0, signing out.